Hello, and welcome to the norming video for 5th grade science for Common Assessment 2. In this video, I will walk through some of the example answers that scholars may give on the Common Assessment constructed response section, as well as some nuances that you may want to look for. Question number 1 has to do with creating a complete circuit and what a scholar should do if a circuit is not working correctly. You'll see that overall it is worth from 0 to 7 points. Part A asks scholars to draw a diagram that shows how the circuit should be connected to produce light, because it is connected incorrectly here. As you can see from the rubric over here, they will receive 4 points total. That is 1 point for each correct component of the circuit that is labeled, up to 4 points. So, for example, they'll get 1 point for a correct battery. They must show the plus and the negative sign on the battery to show that it is correctly set up with the wires. 1 point for the light bulb, 1 point for the wires, and 1 point for the correct switch. It does have to be set up like this correctly, with one end of a wire going into the plus, one coming out of the negative, one on each side of the switch back to the light bulb. That is worth a total of up to 4 points. For part B, scholars must read through this and know that the scholar named Anna made all the changes. Mr. Smith, her teacher, checks everything's set up correctly, but it still isn't working. What scholars need to do is list 2 things that Anna could do to try to fix the circuit. One might be to change the light bulb because it's burned out. One might be to change the light bulb because it's burned out. One might also be to change the battery because it's dead, or maybe the wires need to be changed. They'll get 1 point for reason number 1, 1 point for reason number 2, and additionally a 3rd point for writing incomplete sentences, since the question does ask them to write incomplete sentences. Please note on here that they should not receive a point if they suggest that Anna reconnect the circuit. The question already states that Mr. Smith told her that it is connected correctly already. Now moving on to constructed response question number 2. In this problem, there are 4 magnets with 4 different types of metal shavings, and scholars must come up with the scientific question, variables, etc. for this experiment. Question number 2 is worth a total from 0 up to 5 points. So for part A, you can see over here it's worth 1 point total. So 1 point should be awarded if the correct scientific question is asked. What is important is that they note that the independent variable is some type of metal is affected. Does the type of metal affect the attraction to a magnet, or what type of metal shavings are attracted to a magnet? Something along those lines will receive 1 point. For part B, you'll see over here, it is worth up to 2 points total. 1 point is awarded for the independent variable and 1 point for the dependent variable. The independent is metal shavings and the dependent is the attraction to the metal. They could also write something like the amount of shaving attracted to the metal, but it should be something along the lines of the attraction level to the magnet. Part C, as you can see here, is worth 1 point total. They should explain why all the magnets up here must be the exact same. And the magnets have to be the same because if you change the magnet, the attraction levels wouldn't be consistent. And we don't want to change more than one variable at a time. If they answer everything in complete sentences, you can award them the 5th and final point. For question number 3, it has scholars look at 4 identical containers with different colors of sand that are set out in the full sun all day. The student in this question takes the temperature of each, and the temperatures are recorded in this table. So part A asks scholars what the independent and dependent variable are. So they should correctly identify it for 1 point. The color of the sand is the independent variable, and the temperature of the sand is the dependent variable. Part B asks scholars to explain why the temperature of the sand in each container is different. What do they think? So the big thing is scholars need to show directionality. They need to tell that the darker sand absorbs more light, which causes the temperature to increase, or that the lighter sand reflects the light and doesn't get as hot. Over here, there's some other explanations that can also be acceptable, but they would only receive 1 point for them if they don't show directionality. So for example, scholars may recognize that the color of the sand influences the sand's temperature. So they may say all the sands are a different temperature because they are all a different color. And while that is correct, it is not showing directionality, so it would only receive 1 point. They may also recognize that different colors absorb or reflect different amounts of sunlight, but again, that doesn't specify what colors absorb more or less, so that would only receive 1 point, not both points. For this final constructed response question, as you can see here, overall they will receive 1 additional point if the scholar writes in complete sentences for part A and for part B. If you have any questions, please email me at momiller, or you can reach out to your CTL. Thank you.